Well, hi, you buddies from the banks of the beautiful Lake Okanagan. It's Boomer, it's Pinder, it's Barn Burner. There's RJ. He's in a mild twist today.
He is. That is part of his MO
Yeah.
when he is setting up. You should have seen him in Vegas for the live draft show. He begins to start I guess sort of identifying as a butterfly and
Right, yeah. Wound like a golf ball, you could say, which is rather tight.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're here. We're live at the Lakeside Resort and Conference Center. Another beautiful day if you like sunshine and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Sunshine and warmth and
gorgeous. I think there's supposed to be rain later, but it can screw off
is
now. See that big bastard thing?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Either way, welcome here as we continue our in-depth coverage of the Young Stars Classic 2024 event in Penticton.
You dog walker, Dean?
I've been known to walk a dog.
Because we are right on a prime corridor between the nice little old pier here, and then there's a fenced area for dogs that literally is on the beach into the water. So your dog can retrieve sticks from the beach into the lake.
Yeah, dogs love that shit.
They do. Yeah,
they really do. Yeah, they really love
most dogs. Yeah.
Speaking of dogs, I thought you'd be sick like one today with how last night seemed to be going. We went to the game. We watched, which we will talk about, but we watched the Flames take on whoever they played yesterday.
I think they were in blue.
So. Yeah, somebody. Yeah. And then we went out and had a burger and a couple of drinks, and then old Boom Dog. He's you talk about being a dog. Guy's got to get some Z's.
Lie down in front of the fireplace, curl up on your mat.
That's right. Yeah. Start snoring, drooling, that sort of thing. I knew that was not what was going to be in your immediate future. What did end up happening last night?
Well, we put you to bed. I had the privilege of running into some old pals I hadn't seen for about a half decade, which is always great. And, memory lane and a few cocktails here or there. And then I thought, I think I might just head up to the room for a moment. Checked in with the warden, see how the little gremlins were doing.
Right.
It was not an inspiring conversation. Stress levels are high. S only hits the fan when I'm not in town. It's like, hey, honey, how are you? I'm sick.
Oh,
like, no. Why when I'm gone? It's never when I'm home.
Yeah.
And so I did my best to push my sympathy through the cellular signals back.
Was she
Calgary,
feeling it, you think? Or?
And then I got a text from Steinberg and went back to the bar.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. No, I guess so now just memory lane, like you say, you lived here in Penticton, covering the V's.
708, I moved to Penticton from Fort St. John for my first real play-by-play job of note, which I was very excited about. I was sure I was very good. I was very wrong.
I'm sure you were great.
But 4 years later, I left a more polished broadcaster and someone that owned suits, not just sweatpants and hoodies in the broadcast booth. So it was a coming-of-age story, Dean.
So 4 years here, and obviously you got to meet a lot of people. I guess I'm just curious, if this was, say, in this event, the Young Stars Classic, if it was in Prince George or Prince Rupert or Swift Current or something like that, would we be here?
God, no. But if it was in Kelowna, where I don't have pals, we would love to go. If it was in Vernon, we would do it. There. I mean, it's the Okanagan in September. I mean, do you think the view behind us looks like this in Prince George today?
Yeah.
That's why they hosted here.
It felt like one of those things at the beginning. It's like, I think maybe Pinder just wants to go and see some pals. And then the closer we got to it, and you hear about the things he's got lined up, so I think I might be right. He might be looking to hang with some pals. And then as the day went on yesterday, it was, we used to play on the same ultimate team, and now we go up to his house. And remember that time it was just a constant and steady stream of your former buddies coming by. It's like, okay, so this is the Pinder reunion 2024 with a splash of Flames content.
We found an excuse to get paid to come hang out with my pals. No, you know what? I don't enjoy your binary worldview. Dude.
I don't know what.
You can see old pals and also have a very good work trip that makes sense to do it.
Sure, but we are.
And so I'm going to send you and Pike next year.
Yeah. All right.
Or not.
Sounds good. Because getting back to the original point, I was wondering how you were doing, because when I first saw you this morning, you kind of came into I was having breakfast, and you came into the restaurant. You're like, I don't know, I said my sunglasses, and I dumped my sandwich all over my pants, and I don't know where my phone is. So I just figured.
Left the room, and my phone, everything was where it was supposed to be. I left the room 3 times without having everything I needed.
Yeah. So you left your brain.
And then I went to my favorite little breakfast spot up the hill and waited in line to get a delicious eggwich.
Yeah.
And I just like ate it, and the first bite just flew out the back and landed right in my pants. I've had one of those days. But we're back. We're fixed. Burgers.
We sure are. We sure are. We are here in all jesting aside. We're at the Young Stars Classic, which opened yesterday with a pair of games. And our coverage of Barn Burner here from the Barking Parrot Bar at the Lakeside Resort is brought to you by our presenting sponsors. It's Professional Skate Service, 1070 42nd Avenue Southeast. You know it. It's the former Frank Sisson Silver Dollar Casino. It is now home to the newest and I'll say fanciest.
Latest and greatest.
Unbelievable. It's a Calgary institution, and they deserve that type of a setting. Bauer, CCM, Warrior, True, Easton, Bryans, Vaughan, goalie, figure skating, hockey, whatever it is. They have the very best of the best, and it's their service that puts them above and beyond everybody else because they've been doing it forever. They are here to help you. So if you're a parent that you kind of know what you're doing or you have no clue what you're doing, rest assured when you walk through those doors, you're going to be taken care of by the very best. PSSCalgary.com is their website. And while you're there, scroll to the bottom, sign up for the newsletter. And, every once in a while, that newsletter comes through and it's like, hey, by the way,
check this out.
Check this out. Might be a little something special in there for you. So again, that Calgary, PSSCalgary.com is the website. And our good buddies at Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating, over 23 years of experience. What is it? Furnace?
Yeah, I got one of those.
AC unit?
Yeah.
Hot water tank?
Yeah. Those things we want working, right?
These are the people you need to know. Winter is right around the corner. It gets cold, and the furnace has been sitting there all summer long. You don't know if it's ready to go. You just assume you click the switch, it's going to be ready to go. Well, you don't know that. Well, don't roll that dice. Let Crystal Waters check your furnace now to make sure you are ready. Their phone number, 403-219-4100. Crystal Waters is your crystal clear choice for home comfort, and their website is crystalclearcalgary.com. And on top of that, how good are these guys? Barn Burner customers get promotional offers from discounts on equipment such as furnaces, ACs, hot water tanks, emergency water shutoff systems, extended warranties, flexible payment options. So we've been saying, I don't know if it's exactly how it works, but if you're talking with the good people at Crystal Waters, you give them one of these. I'm a Barn Burner. I heard it on Barn Burner.
Yeah.
If you're on the phone, I don't know if you need to do the finger
sorry,
gun.
I just lost your connection there. You said it. Sorry, yeah, you just cut out again.
No, it's
cut out again.
Barn Burner. Crystal Waters is your crystal clear choice for home comfort. The phone number, 403-219-4100, crystalclearcalgary.com. Okay, let's get into it. Jets and Flames at the Whoop-de-Doo Arena yesterday. It was not a great start for the Flames. They were running around.
They were spinning around, I think, shell-shocked a bit. An older Jets club was playing a little bit of keep away, and it just was like, looked a bit like that. Yeah. And then for a moment there, it was like, this could get really out of hand. What was it? 2 goals, like moments apart?
Yeah, it was 2-0 Jets in the first period. And it looked like it was maybe going to be one of those long afternoons or evenings, however you want to look at it. But they did settle in. Trent Call, coach of the Wranglers, said afterwards, you kind of expect that. It's a new group. They've not played together. They're excited. They're wearing the jerseys for the first time. There's going to be some what are you getting there? Butterflies, that sort of a thing. Yeah. But I thought that they settled in really well and would end up tying the game, and then went down 3-2, then tied it again, and it went to overtime. And we'll talk about that. Take a look at the goals here. Now, Sam Morton, who we've been having fun with.
Hank Horton, Sam Morton.
Sounds like a
Dr. Seuss
guy off of Yellowstone. He got them going. Now, he is one of the older players here. 25 years of age. So he goes for the pass across there. It goes off a skate back to him, and he bangs it in.
Been a nice little find since coming out of Mankato.
Put up some points at the end of last season after he joined the Wranglers with the American Hockey League. And again, when you're that much older, but still, there was a lot of poise. It was pretty clear that he was very comfortable in that setting.
To put things in perspective, when he was let's say Zayne Parekh's age, Zayne Parekh would have been like 10 or 11. So he's significantly older than these 8 players they've brought from this summer draft class in Vegas. And so impressive game. If you're a 25-year-old that's played 4 years of college and then, a significant role down the stretch in the AHL regular season and playoffs, you probably should be better than a lot of these guys and be able to assert yourself. He had a really good game. I thought he was their best player.
He was. I agree. He was centering a line with William Stromgren, who's also, all of a sudden, he's a little bit of an older guy here as well.
Yep.
And Matt Vey Gridden.
Gridden.
We got it from Brendan Parker, Flames.com, Gridden. So we're going to go with it until we're told differently. But that was their top line. So moving on, so they make it 2-1. Then they would tie it. And this one took a little while to figure out, well, whose goal is this? What is, because there's a pass out in front. And Hunter Brestevich, who's been at this tournament before, but was a Canuck when he was here last time. There you see the shot right to the slot. He pinches in, and it looked like it was a direct shot in the goal for Brestevich, but replays would suggest that it went off the stick.
See, I was behind that net, and I thought for sure that went off Lang's stick and in.
Yeah, and I think they did. At the time, it was Brestevich, but I think that credit has gone to Lang.
Rightfully so.
You know, as they go. You know, really got to figure out who's got these goals, who's deserving the credit here, and Lang is a guy we'll talk about in a little bit. But I
got some interesting bloodlines.
You know, you want these guys be in the fabric of the game, be involved, and he was involved in a lot of it. You see there, the guy's 6'5",
listed at 6'6" in some places.
Yeah,
so he's a monster.
So he's a big dude. So that tied it up, and then Jaden Lipinski would tie it one more time. And you talk about Parekh, who we will talk plenty today. I was sitting with Parker and I said, you don't need to ever tell him to jump into the play. So here goes, there's the forward, and here comes Parekh up the right side, right in front of the net. And as the puck goes in the net here, they're shorthanded.
Yeah.
They're on a penalty kill, and their defenseman is right at the top of the crease, below the goal line. But Lipinski makes a nice move there as he cuts back to the middle of the net and tucks it in on the Milic. He played all 60 plus minutes yesterday.
It's you hear about Zayne Parekh and then you see him, and he is exactly as advertised. This is an offensive wizard that definitely knows what end of the rink his bread is buttered at.
Yeah, he's not too concerned about getting back because he has that ability and loves to jump into the play. High risk, high reward, however you want to characterize it, but you got to see a lot of it yesterday. So that would tie the game, and then they would go to overtime, and they controlled the puck.
Yeah, they were
for pretty much the entire overtime frame until it was over. We mentioned Zayne Parekh. You'll get to see his involvement again.
More Zayne.
There's a winning goal coming up, but it's so here is Parekh at the top of your screen, and then gets pressed by a couple of Jets and turns the puck over.
2-0.
And it's how the game ends.
I thought Murphy was going to get over and get that. He really made a good attempt on that 2-0. And Parekh just tried to make a move. It didn't work. But here is what why players develop. Okay, in the OHL, he can probably get away with that. He just found out that against guys that are going to play in the American League this year, that's got to be done quicker with more authority, or you can't do it at all.
Yeah.
And so I think people are just like, oh my gosh, risk reward. And you're like, this guy's trying, he's playing at a higher level, and not everything that worked at a lower level is going to work. Not everything's going to translate. Yeah. But I will bet on the vision and skill of this player all the time. And I don't really care that he had two major gaffes and was on the ice for a couple against. I was really impressed when he held the puck. He would show something, move his opponent around, and then go somewhere else with the hole he just created. So if he's a right shot, if he's got the puck here and he wants you to think he's passing there, everything says he's going that way. And then he pulls it back and slides it over because he's just moved the defender the opposite direction. I mean, deception, vision, and just an ability to move some of the other chess pieces on the board. It's through the roof. He's going to be an incredibly exciting player to watch. I mean, I hate the big name comparison sometimes, but it just feels like Erik Karlsson light, like a guy that's just wildly offensively talented, that there's going to be a lot of defensive. Yeah, that's not what he's great at.
It's funny you mentioned that name. It was exactly who I was thinking of.
Really?
Because as you're watching the game, it's like, okay, so now we're watching him shift it. You could put your ISO cam, your mental cam, and just watch him play now. Who is this guy? It feels a lot like Erik Karlsson.
Yes, and that's a great thing. That's a superstar that's probably, a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's a guy that will go down as one of the highest scoring defensemen in the history of the league. Is he a perfect player? No. Has he played on a lot of very good teams? Yes, he has. Yeah. He is a superstar. He is an all-star. He is a guy that sells tickets. He's a guy that is a massive offensive catalyst. If Zayne Parekh can be Erik Karlsson light, this is a home run of a draft pick at number 9.
And there's obviously the offensive side. You can see how well he skates and how he performs. But there were just some other instances where there was a hard forecheck coming. He's coming below the goal, and there's pressure on him. It's okay. How are you gonna handle this? And it's a nifty spin, like a button hook, and then passes it to the far blue line, banks it off the boards, and hits the player in stride. It's like, okay, that's that's a high-end play there. That's some high-end skill. So I mean, as advertised, as we get into our impressions on individuals from the game, Zayne Parekh had everything you've heard of, and it does make you think that this is find the right pairing, find the right spot.
Yeah.
But there is just there's tons of skill there, and it's about shaping it as he moves on in his career.
Yeah, and so a guy who has 96 points in the Ontario Hockey League is a 17-year-old. He's going to go and try to do historic things in that league this year, and then it's probably you'd almost be disappointed if he didn't break with the Flames the year after, because he's not allowed to go to the AHL with that silly CHL agreement as for 19-year-old players. But I think it's like this time next year where we'll see the rest of this tournament in training camp, but it's Parekh taking a job next year at this time. That's the kind of trajectory this caliber of player is on. It's a very different trajectory than some of the other first rounders they've had, and we'll get to those in a moment. But make no mistake, this is the top prospect in the organization. This is the highest skill player they have, and this is the guy with the highest potential of being a star they've got in their entire system.
Other impressions, I've got kind of a list put together. We
Fire.
can kind of run through them. I liked Henry Muse, who was
Really
their
good.
third rounder yesterday. Now, they drafted 10 players in June at the 2024 entry draft, and 7 of them played in this game yesterday. So you talk about how it was a young group.
Yeah.
They were 18 and older, but there were a lot of 18-year-olds. Henry Muse, Ottawa 67's defenseman, 6 foot, 183 pounds is listed. Again, it changes because they're kids, but had 61 points in 65 games as a 17, 18-year-old in the OHL. He was all over this game. I had no expectation because Stromgren, Parekh, Honzik, you had your short list, Gridden, guys that you're going to watch. Didn't really know what to think. He stood out from the start, and I thought was impressive the entire game.
Incredibly poised. And again, you're looking at guys that have played at the junior level and not higher than that. And how are they going to perform against a Jets club that has a lot of invites to essentially earn jobs in the American League? These are older guys. You're playing against grown men. It's not, 16 to 19-year-olds, which the competition is primarily in the Canadian Hockey League. And I thought in the first period, a lot of those guys where it was their first level of playing against, men, struggled a bit with it. Muse was consistently poised, and you talked about Parekh curling away from pressure and, avoiding like that. That was Muse all night. It was just really smart plays and staying out of trouble and just poised under pressure. I was really impressed. And down the right, you can see what Connie's building here, where at the NHL level, you've got 4 of your 6 defensemen are righties. Uyghur plays the left. Miramonov's a righty. Rasmus Anderson's a righty. Pahal's a righty. Tyson Barrie, we'll see what happens. He's a righty. But in the pipeline, you now have Parekh, who will be an absolute mainstay on the right side of the Flames bullpen. Brstevich, another right side defenseman. And Henry Muse, another right sider. So if you can find some steady lefties to go with these offensive ceiling righties, it's quite impressive. The right shot defensemen are hard to get. If you looked at the Flames organization, you would not realize that.
Yeah. So again, and one of the calling cards from the draft was they went with skill.
Yeah. They bet on skill.
And I think I don't want to get any closer to you. I got some shade on my big forehead. Anyway, but that's one thing we definitely saw was some of that skill level, and Muse was in there. Andrew Basha, I said yesterday when we were doing our thing, it's like, let's find somebody who's maybe a bit of a beauty, who's somebody that wants to kind of muck it up, maybe want to get in there. Basha was that guy. I thought Siona was also that guy.
On Basha, before we move on,
yeah.
I hadn't seen him play before, which shame on me. He's made a Medicine Hat. He's a Glen Lake kid. Like, he's grown up in Calgary. But you hear a lot of the attributes, and you're always trying to envision how a player plays when you read scouting reports, and you get a sense of like, okay, like he's high energy, but to see it, like every shift he's shot out of a cannon, he plays fearless, he's physical, he's got great skill, and then he had an incredible shift in the O zone where he spun around a bunch of defenders and wheeled around the zone and created chances to open up teammates. They're like, this guy's going to be a fan favorite. Like, I don't know where he settles on an NHL roster, but he's an incredibly exciting player that plays with very high pace and intensity, afraid of nothing. I think he's going to be an absolute fan favorite, Calgarian, and plays a way you can't help but love.
There wasn't a lot of rough stuff. I mean, they never really got close. But if there was a scrum or something happening in front of the net or at the side of the goal, Basha was there.
Yeah, he got his bucket lifted in front of the Jets net at one point. Yeah.
Or Siona was running a guy through the end boards. Physical.
Siona, Bell, dude. And I'd say Lang they were sort of your big oxes that tried to get involved physically. And there was some pretty heavy hitting game, but yeah, there was only one chance for it really to get nasty. And it was the big defenseman Yermo who played a physical game in front. Someone took exception to him being where he was. And I thought, okay, if there's a chance for a tilt, this is it right here. Yermo declined. He's an interesting one because I didn't love what he did with the puck, but I loved his physicality, and you noticed him every shift.
Sure,
There's some other guys you didn't.
You mentioned Hunter Lang. Walk us through the, again, it's you got to be a pretty deep Flames fan, I would think, to appreciate the bloodlines. But kind of, what is the story about this guy?
So Hunter Lang's dad is Quinton Lang. He had a significant run with the Capitals. He, I think, blocked a shot with his face, and he's still got, you could see some scarring there. He was a folk hero in Washington for a while in the early Ovechkin days. He was brought in later in his career, and he was the captain of the Abbotsford Heat when they were the Flames AHL affiliate. So leader from Saskatchewan, big, strong, centerman or winger, like, those just, prairie boy ox that you can trust to do all the right things. And he was a captain and, would know a bunch of the guys in the organization. And he's an assistant coach in Kelowna now for the Rockets. So we got to see a lot of TJ Ginla and in turn Jerome last year. So he's got all these tie-ins with the Flames organization. And then sure enough, late in the draft in Vegas, his kid Hunter, who played in Prince George this year, and they had an absolute monster of a team, including like Parekh, who was an incredible first-year player that got drafted very high this year. But like, there he is. He's now, of course, it's the Flames organization for another Lang. And I know he's not a household name in Calgary, but if you were following the farm team, it would be when the Berchi, Boma, Brody types were on the farm. Furland. Quinton Lang was their captain. And now his kid is in the organization and he's a monster.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk with Craig Conroy briefly after the game. He was going back in to watch the second game of the night, but we were talking about much like this, guys that were impressive or stood out. And I thought Hunter Lang definitely was one of those guys. And he said this was kind of a Jerome guy. Because like you say, Jerome being in Kelowna last year, watched a lot of Western League hockey, knew Quinton and knew because of this guy. So they took him in the 6th round with, and again, 6'5", 6'6", big dude. And again, it's one of those guys. Okay, be a role guy for this team in a few years down the road. But oddly, for a 6th rounder, he was one of the guys that definitely stood out.
Tipped that puck, I think, from Brstevich and was physical, and that's you can see that's what he's going to be. That they cleared out a few of their more veteran guys in Prince George. They loaded up. I think they were the best team in that conference by a ways in the Western League this year. So there'll be a little more room and ice for him there. And it's an intriguing guy because of his size. I don't know what the ceiling is, but maybe you got a bang and crash bottom of the roster type guy if things go well.
Hey, Arj, you can bring those drinks in. We're not so fancy.
Honestly, you can
professional. That's bringing in a coffee and a water into the shot is going to put us off. To start the game, as we work through the pairing of Brstevich and Grishnikov.
Yep.
Preesh. So nice.
Wow. Cream for you too.
Running around a little bit for these two, and that's going to happen. They have not, they haven't played together. It's the first game, this sort of thing. But it was clear that neither really knew where the other was going, and they got caught. And then pucks ended up going in. They split them, but much like the game for the entire Flames, I thought both guys got better as the game went on. Now, 2 guys that were brought in high-profile deals involving the Flames this year. Thoughts on not so much the pair, I guess, but both guys.
Players. I thought Brstevich struggled at the first, like most of the team did, especially the younger guys. A couple miscues and turnovers. Grishnikov's turnover led to the first goal, if I'm correct, where he kind of lost it on the wall, made the wrong play, and slammed his stick, was frustrated. I feel for Grishnikov because everyone is just going to throw this Chris Tanev label on him because, of course, A, he's traded for the guy, and B, he's a stay-at-home physical defenseman that doesn't put up a lot of points. And it's just a really high bar for anyone to be measured by. You're talking about one of the best shutdown defensemen in the NHL. And I sort of see a lot of leadership qualities here, a hard worker and someone that's willing to put his body on the line, a bit of block in front. But that doesn't mean that he's going to turn into a top 4 defenseman in the NHL. It's a very hard thing to do with a player of his profile with almost no offense at any level coming up. Chris Tanev was a half point per game defenseman in the NCAA. And so I fear for him for those comparisons, but you can see what he is. And at worst, I think you've got a really rock solid, wear a letter AHL tough defenseman.
Yeah. And it's not about putting ceilings on guys, but you're right. It's just kind of,
it's tough when you're traded for that.
I mean,
guy,
what's
right?
the word? Is it like, is it a coincidence? I don't know that it is a shot blocker,
Yeah.
rear guard, stay-at-home guy who was traded for much the same. But to your point, Chris Tanev,
Very,
there
very,
was-
very good at what he does.
he was not a guy that struggled to put up points or was
at this age. Yeah.
So, but again, got better as the game went on.
Agreed.
And I did like his physicality. He was tough in front of the net, did a lot of blocking shots. Brustevich,
Better as the game went.
once he settled in, you could start to see where that offensive ability
Yeah.
is starting with
It's
him.
not quite the Zayne Parekh,
No.
3D chess level, but you can see that this is a guy that can zip that puck around with pace, authority, and catch teams sort of chasing what he's trying to do. I liked him as the game went on for sure. A tough first period. And then, those are the started names I had. Morton was your best player. He's 25. And then it was Brustevich, Muse, and Parekh, the right side of the defense, that are all very, very intriguing prospects. And do you want to talk about Gridden a bit? Because I love Bashan, but Gridden showed flashes of like, oh yeah, there's some high end here.
Gridden played on that line with Stromgren and Morton, so that was going to help him a little bit. And it was actually Parks that brought that up. It's like, you're going to have Morton doing a lot of the heavy lifting and some of the dirty work for him. So he's going to be allowed. I don't know how to has that kind of European feel to him. To me, just watching the way he skates, the way he cuts in there, he's a high skill guy, but none of that skill really translated into anything in terms of scoring chance. I didn't think
he fanned on a couple, but you were waiting for that great scoring chance to come as a result of it. It just didn't seem to happen.
Yeah, he's 18 years old, but I did see some of those flashes where, okay, this is a guy that his draft stock went up as the year went on, and then it was not a surprise where the Flames took him. But
and I think they slid Honzek into that line as well. And
they moved a bunch of guys
and that's what you're going to see today. I know Jack's got it. The Steinberg's over at Skate this morning with a bunch of the other local media. Steinberg singing Eminem last
texting
night.
Me at 2 a.m. Get over Steinberg.
But it looks like it'll be Honzek with Morton and Stromgren on the right as the top lines, whatever you want to call it. Misa, Siona, and Basha the second line. Lipinski, Battaglia, and Gridden on the third line. And then McNamara comes in. He's the only guy that is sort of an invite here amongst the forward group to play with Parker Bell and Quentin Lang, the two drafted big boys flanking him. We haven't talked about, we probably should. I was waiting to see Sam Honzek.
Yeah, I was kind of going through
to see
Etienne Morin, Lipinski we talked about. Before we go, Stromgren, just a thought on him. While they were struggling in the first, while it was a slow start, I thought he was fine from the start. He was the guy that was noticeable to me the entire game.
Yeah, and he should be, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about a guy that's significantly older than a lot of these other forwards. Like, what is he, a 21 draft pick? Like, he's not the Vegas draft. He's not the Nashville draft. He is a guy that, has got a full season of American League hockey under his belt. This is not a young man playing against men. It's a guy that played against men last year, and you can see what's tantalizing about him because he's got this great reach and some good offensive instincts. Kind of not unlike Gridden. There were some plays I kept waiting for it to happen, and he's like, just lost it, or it clipped the skate. No, he tried to, but you can see why he's able to create highlight reel goals with that big reach and huge frame and offensive skill. Skates well. He's an intriguing one for me because I'd love to see him at the NHL level, but because you score a highlight reel goal does not mean you do that once a month. Doesn't mean you played 10 good games that month.
Yeah,
I wonder about that if he can impact the game regularly enough to be an NHLer.
I was thinking about this coming in, so we're going to do this show. We're going to talk about these prospects. So everybody wants to know how they look. Well, you had 3 periods of hockey. You had 1 game and extra with overtime. So what are they? How good are they? What are they going to make the NHL? It feels ridiculous to sit here and kind of tell you, but based on what we saw yesterday, I was, better skater maybe. I think Stromgren
for his size.
He's a big dude, and he was flying around out there. So whatever that's worth. Now, now to flip the coin, Sam Honzek, first round pick. To this point, it's been a disappointment for him. There's been injuries. He's not performed as anybody would have hoped. And it was hard to find him at times yesterday.
What makes it worse is that he's a late birthday. So
he'll be 20.
He's going to be in the American League
November
this year, theoretically. And, if for a 19-year-old season in the Western League last year, you'd love to see a guy humming around 1.5 points per game. It's not everything. We know he's got a big frame. They like his pro body. He works well on the walls, protects pucks, like big physical guy. But I just didn't notice him. And that doesn't necessarily mean he was bad, but you'd sure like to notice a guy that you spent a 16th overall pick or whatever.
If you went in yesterday and you had a roster and no draft info, no age info, you just truthfully, you would have gone well down the list 10 before he would have been a guy that would have stood out to you.
Yeah. And look, he's got 2 more games to have different performances than that. We'll see if it happens. But if they look like that, it would be concerning.
Yeah. And
again, the injuries are not to be shrugged off. They're not his fault. They are really tough in these crucial developmental years when you went to the World Juniors, got hurt 2 seasons ago. This past season, hurt in camp, comes back, gets hurt again. That was a guy they would have loved to try down the middle in Vancouver this year in the Western League because he missed so much time. And we just can't do this. So now they start him on the wing in this tournament, and he's 20 already. It's like, man, if this guy's gonna be a center, like, how long does this ship sail before you give up on that? Like, and feels like that window's closing for him to be a centerman.
There's the list of guys who have had a tough start, and it's taken time. It's 100 miles long. The story isn't written, but to this point, this is not the 2-year sample size that you would have. It's not the sample size or what you would have liked to have seen.
They're totally different players, but there's a lot of parallels with Connor Zary and what he went through. He was, of course, the famous crotch cam COVID draft where all the parents stand up and then they hug each other. And and so that COVID thing ruined a lot of the regular season in the Western League, where I believe it's Kamloops. And then it's like, okay, he gets hurt in the American League, and he gets hurt again. You're like, oh man, like, this is a first rounder. Yeah. And I believe they traded back a couple times that year, and they really liked Zary. Like, shoot, this would suck if this didn't work. And if I asked you last year at this time about Connor Zary, you're like, yeah, man, I don't know. Like, you hope he can have a good run in the American League. Well, if he wasn't one of the biggest 3 stories of the Calgary Flames this year in terms of developments in the roster, like, it's him and it's Pospisil and, like, what else? I mean, those are some of the best developments the organization's had over the course of the last year. One of them was Zary. And just like Honzik, he had 2 years taken away where either he wasn't 100% or he just missed time playing in these crucial developmental years. It doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just makes it a little bit harder.
Yeah. So that is kind of the story from yesterday. It was a young group. You showed the roster for what's coming up today. They're going to play the Oiler rookies tonight, and much of it is going to be the same. Will be a chance to see some new bodies, some new faces slid in there as well. The goaltending pairing, and we're trying to figure Ignachu. He looks like he's going to get the go today. Now, this is from Helsinki, I believe.
It's a Finn that I think played in the 2nd Swedish division,
or
he played in the 2nd Finnish division. He's been both the last 2 years. They've liked his numbers, and I think chatting with some of the people around the team, they're sort of saying, okay, when you come over from Europe to North America, those angles change a little bit. It's the smaller ice, which it's not small, but NHL and European, not the same. So does he need a time to adjust to that? How long has he been skating over here? Is he adjusted? We'll see, but they've kind of done well with the undrafted Europeans and late round draft flyers on goalies at Eastern Europe. I mean, I think if David Riddick was a signing out of the Czech Republic that no one knew who he was, came in, they turned him into an asset at one point. And then, they've had some hits in later rounds. They've got a nice stable of Russian defensemen. And there it is, goalie of the year in the Finnish 2nd division and the Swedish 2nd division in consecutive years. I was right. Thank you, Pike. That's
Pike bomb.
Verifying Pinder. Love it. Because I was definitely talking about my ass there for a bit.
Really?
But we'll see. Toolsy, right?
Couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell at all.
2nd division, both leagues.
Yeah,
right, nailed it.
So we're continuing here from the Barking Parrot Bar here on the patio, beautiful Penticton. What we'll do is we're going to take just a quick time out here, and we'll come back. Some business getting done with the big league club, and then we'll tee up what we're expected to see here a little bit later today at the Whoop-de-Doo Arena.
I have an update as well. We have a live auction going, and we have certified insane human being behavior that we'll get you up to speed on. That's on the other side.
Which is different.
As always, a big shout out to one of our big sponsors, McLeod Law. Great people. We talk about it on the show. Shane King and Peter Klein and Austin and everybody there. What it is they're Calgary people taking care of Calgary people. You're not getting, when you reach out to McLeod Law, they're not sending you to Toronto or Vancouver or someplace they don't know who you are. These are Calgary folks. They're proud of those Calgary roots. They are here every single day. It's a big part of their long-standing client relationships. They get the way things work, and they want to help you. Whatever your challenge is, business or personal, they're just a click away. McLeod-law.com is the website. The very best. Good people making a difference. McLeod Law.
Hey guys, you know Village Honda presents the Pinder Report weekdays throughout the season, but we're at your dealership for life today in the Northwest Auto Mall. Let's see what's happening at Village Honda. Everyone knows the CRV, but did you know all the CRVs are made in Canada for Canadians? Pretty cool. Lots in stock and more coming in throughout the summer at Village Honda as well. How about the HRV? You want to talk about performance, comfort, sporty styling, economical? Pretty sexy vehicle. Village Honda, your dealership for life, online at villagehonda.com and in the Northwest Auto Mall.
Our presenting sponsors for our trip here to Penticton, Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating, 23 years of experience.
That's a lot more than I have.
30,000 projects that they've completed, striving to deliver premium quality equipment and services, focusing on safety, comfort, product longevity. We would, again, when something goes sideways with your heater, your AC, your hot water tank, you are scrambling. Scramble no more. Just know that these are your guys, Crystal Waters. It's your crystal clear choice for home comfort. Their website, crystalclearcalgary.com, and their phone number, 403-219-4100. And, of course, ProSkate, professional skate service since 1972. So long ago.
It's grand opening
That
day.
was the grand opening.
It is a players, goalies, figure skaters, and, well, ring it.
It's, yeah, we were in there. We got the new stick. You got to wear a different mask, for ringette. I don't even know if you knew that.
Right? I didn't know that.
Because the end of the stick, you know, it's kind of narrow, and it could fit through the holes.
Oh, okay.
It's a little narrow,
and
she'll get right through the holes of your regular hockey mask. So you got to wear a
Can't
different
have
kind
that.
of a cage.
Yeah, very good.
So you need that sort of stuff.
It's that time of year. Geez, this doesn't fit anymore. Head down to ProSkate, their new location, just off Blackfoot on 42nd Southeast. Old Frank Sisson's location.
That's right. PSSCalgary.com. We mentioned some business. Craig Conroy is here in Penticton, but got a little bit of business now. I guess word started to trickle out a couple days ago, and then made official, I guess, yesterday, that Jakob Pelletier coming to terms on another contract, re-upping with the Flames. There's the details from Ryan Pike.
Another Pike bomb. Jeez, wow. Fire here. $800,000 is the NHL salary. It's a small AHL salary in terms of $100,000, but it's the floor is $165. If he bounces around, he can't make less than that. I don't worry about the American League salary, Dean, because Jakob Pelletier requires waivers this year. This is not the type of player that is going to slide through waivers. He will be taken by another team because he was drafted in the first round. All the things he was good at then, he is still good at now. And aside for some bad injury luck, I think he's the type of guy a team would love to see get onto waivers and punish the team that placed him there. The down money, I think, is a non-issue here. The real question is, where does Jakob Pelletier fit into the 13 or 14 forwards the Flames are going to carry and Ryan Huska is going to throw out together?
Yeah, I think you've kind of made that clear. But so it's a one-way deal, it's a two-way deal, and for the player and the agent, you always want a one-way deal.
Sure, why not?
I want to be making the same money. I don't want to go to the American Hockey League for starters. And if I do, I want to be making my NHL money. I want to be making big money. But to your point, it's kind of less of a situation for him, because it sure does feel like if they're in a situation where they want to send him to the American Hockey League, they can't just do it now without him having to clear waivers. And to your point, I feel like there'd be a number of teams take away what his points are. This is a first round talent.
Free kick of the tires. He's making $800,000. Like,
scoop this guy.
Give it a try.
So the Flames are in danger of losing him on waivers anyway. So it's kind of in their best interests, I guess, for the player to perform well and for him to stay at the NHL level.
I remember when he got hurt. It was the shoulder issue in camp last year, whether it was preseason or camp. I can't remember, but you were like, man, this is tough. Like, this is a big year for him, and it's going to keep him out probably to the new year. That's tough. And I was kind of like, it just, this happens. He'll be fine. But the more I think about it, like, here you are now with waivers. Wouldn't it have been nice to have that last year to establish what you are at the NHL level? And you didn't really get that chance. And so when you come back mid-season, it's not like you're in camp and you've won a job. You're now trying to figure out where this piece fits that you haven't had for 6 months or for 3 months of the season if you're Ryan Huska. And I don't think it would be a good year for Pelletier to I guess, fall flat. You need to have a good camp. I'd love to see him earn a role in the top 9. Or maybe you could see Huska run a younger, sort of interesting fourth line that maybe you have a Coronado and a Pospisil on or something. But I want to see this guy with skill. I'd like to see him in significant minutes. The dream scenario for me, if you wanted to ask, how do you develop Jakob Pelletier into a great NHL player or to reach his potential as an NHL player, I put him with Backlund and Coleman. It's fit the profile of how he's played his whole career in terms of a responsible two-way guy with a little bit of offense. And we've seen so many young players, whether it's Mangiapane, Tkachuk, others, that you go onto Backlund's line, and within a year or two, they can seemingly graduate into a higher spot in the lineup, and they're playing the game the right way.
So you're looking at, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see his bio, if you want to call it that. He's very quickly turned into a 23-year-old guy. Right?
Yep.
This is not a kid anymore. He was picked in the 2019 draft, 26th overall, and you can see it there. He comes out of junior, great numbers, and then his 22-23 season, point per game guy,
Point per game in the
essentially in the AHL.
That tells me you're ready to graduate. If you're a forward and you're a point per game player, and he's known to be good away from the puck, like, it's time to graduate.
Yeah.
Problem being last year was the step back.
2 good years, and then last year it's the shoulder injury. Almost feels, and then his numbers also were not
as good.
They were not good even in the American Hockey League. And we've talked to it. Did he play a little bit timid when he came back? Was he not quite the same player? You can understand it. Now you're playing to not get hurt. You're not thinking about making plays. You're thinking about avoiding contact if at all possible.
And to refresh people, he's hurt. He comes back, and one of his first games, what happens?
Yeah, he got clunked.
Jacob Trouba squares him up and clunks him, and he's not hurt significantly again, but he's hurt again. And so, would you understand the human nature of maybe not playing the way you'd like to play for the remainder of that year with all that's happened? I hope it's a fresh start for him, and that he looks a lot more like the 22-23 version.
And what's interesting too, and unfortunate, is I thought he had a really good camp and preseason until he got injured last year. I know, talking with Huska and Craig, they were this guy is looking like he's going to take another step from that point per game guy in the AHL. He's going to be an everyday NHLer, and then that happens. So it's a weird one. In one way, you would think, okay, because of the waiver situation and that, he's maybe got a bit of an edge over some other guys who can just easily be sent into the American League. So that's to his benefit. But at the same time, they've drafted so many guys in the last couple of years.
Yeah. There's Coronado, and it's like he's not a Lomberg. You signed Lomberg for a reason, and he's not a center. And Kevin Rooney is, and maybe Pospisil can be a center. We'll see. It's quite interesting. I don't think I can build a lineup where both Coronado and Pelletier are in the top 9, because you didn't bring in Mantha to put him on the fourth line. You're not going to do that to Huberdeau, because as bad as it got last year, they never did it. And everyone else is a bona fide top 9 player at this point.
And that's
Connor Zari's not a fourth liner. So one of these two kids, Pelletier in a monster year and Coronado in a first full NHL season. Remember, last year's his first year out of college, and he splits it between the American League and NHL. Up and down results in the NHL, very strong AHL results, which is what you want to see from a guy that was at Harvard a year prior. Point per game in the American League. He's ready to move up. Can you satisfy both the needs for Pelletier and Coronado to develop and get the minutes? It's going to be interesting to see how they build these lines.
And that's with Mangiapane gone.
Correct.
That was one of the things we talked. There's just so many guys. You got to move some bodies out. We know what happened with Dylan Dubé. They move out Andrew Mangiapane, and still, you have to kind of squint a little bit to find where Jakob Pelletier fits in here, but hopefully his play will take care of that. So that's the NHL story. I'm not sure what else, if there is big club. Obviously, all the guys, the coaches, scouts, everybody is here. Jerome is here, giving Conroy the details on how things should be done. From the sounds of it yesterday, Jerome just letting Craig know what he should be.
I think we should do this. I don't know, Jerome.
You
gotta draft this line kid. Okay, Jerome.
You gotta draft this guy. Yeah, we're going golfing, Craig. Okay, that sounds good too. So for today, it's going to be the Flames and the Oilers. That's an 8:30 game. A little bit later, it'll be on CalgaryFlames.com. Roster, because there's only so many bodies. Very, very similar to what you saw yesterday. But we saw they're going to move some guys in.
McNamara comes in, and it'll be Ignatiu and net, not Murphy. He'll get the day off, and Radomski will be the backup, or however I'm supposed to say his name. He had a cup of coffee with the Wranglers last year. Of note for the Oilers, it'll be the Matthew Savoy appearance. He's 20. He's torched the Western League. He's not huge. Can he carve out a role on an NHL forward group that does not have young talent? There is one forward on the Oilers roster, not named Connor or Leon, under 30. They need guys on entry levels to contribute. He's got 3 years left on his entry level. If Savoy wants to be an impactful player, it will be a huge piece for the Oilers because they don't have a pipeline. It's a bottom 5 system in the league, and rightfully so. They traded a lot of picks. They're trying to win. They don't have first-round pick this summer. They're probably going to trade their other firsts as time goes by. They still need a top 4. The Savoy deal was one where it's like, you take a McLeod, who might be a lesser player, but we know he's an NHL commodity. We'll take a guy that maybe could give us production on an entry level because that's how it's going to be. If you're going to keep Connor somehow with Leon and Bouchard, who's probably an $11 million defenseman if he's going to go 100 points like he looked like he could do in the playoffs, now you need guys producing at league minimum or entry level deals. Savoy could be that. We'll see tonight what he looks like.
Oiler rookies played Vancouver last night. They fell by a score of 2-0. Also here is their first rounder. I don't really.
O'Reilly.
They made the move, and then Sam O'Reilly came in.
Yeah.
Could have got this guy a little bit later. Anyway,
they liked him clearly because they didn't have a first, and they traded this year's first to get that pick in Vegas, which is odd. I mean, when you look at how they've used their first, I thought the best use of their first they've had in the last few years was swapping it out for Matthias Ekholm. Like, how different does that blue line look since they brought him in?
Yeah.
It was like, okay, now you have a legit top pair. I would think that, the philosophy like the Penguins have done, it's like when you're in your window to contend, use your first to bring in impactful pieces that can help your roster. They need a top 4 defenseman. They have 3 top 4 defensemen. They don't have that first. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it's like Vegas and they'll trade a first a few years down the line. We'll trade you the 2024 or the 2026 if we don't trade the 2024. Like we saw that with the Hannafin deal. But they could use some young talent there.
Canucks were actually very good in this game. They hit a couple of posts. Arshdeep Baines,
very good AHLer.
They've got some good players. Of course, we're going to see them take on the Flames on whatever day it is. Monday. Today's Saturday, right?
Monday.
Is that how that goes?
I thought yesterday was Saturday.
And just other things from that. Now, Jaden Grube, former Calgary Buffalo.
Oh, nice.
He is with this Oilers team.
Okay.
And there was one scrap, at least one scrap that I saw yesterday involving, as Rhett would say, the son of Reginald Corbett.
Wow.
That's right. Nate Corbet, who plays with the Medicine Hat Tigers, was brought here by the Oilers, and he got into a shooting the old Dukes yesterday with one of the Canucks prospects. Did all right for old.
That's just another reason to go watch Medicine Hat when they come play the Hitmen. I mean, you've got McKenna, Basha's there this year. Now Reginald's son.
Reginald's son.
Not to mention others. That's an exciting crew. If they have, the Columbus high draft pick that was so highly touted, 4th overall. I mean, Lindstrom, Caden Lindstrom.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like I'm immediately looking at the calendar to drag my snot-nosed kids to watch the Tigers this year. I'm excited.
I'll hold you to it.
Yeah, let's do it.
We'll hold you to it. So again, that's Flames Oilers tonight, 8:30. Check it out on CalgaryFlames.com. Now, as far as this show for tomorrow is concerned, we've been a little loosey-goosey as far as a start time, and it's probably okay. It's the weekend for you. You come in and you watch it, you download it, you watch it whenever. But as far as watching it live, the reason we're kind of staying a little flimsy is we're hoping to either have some members of the Flames join us here, or we can go somewhere and join them. But it is an off day for them, and it's beautiful, and there's golf, and there's all kinds of things going on.
It's vineyards. So, I don't know.
Yeah. So moving target, I guess you could call it.
Are we taking an off day, or are we got to do a show?
Well, I mean, what time is it here?
It's almost noon.
We're almost done this show, and then there's the rest of the day.
Yeah. That's true. We should do a show. Maybe, RJ, can we set up at one of those vineyards on the Naramata bench? We'll just you sip some Pinots while we do the show?
Are you supposed to swallow? Are you supposed to drink it or just spit
you do
out?
what you're comfortable with. I'll be swallowing. Whatever works for you.
I've heard that about you. All right, get us up. Whatever day it was the other day, Thursday, Tuesday. One of these days, we had Mike Norris in studio, and there he is, 225 kilometers on foot running
in
over a 4-day period, raising money for the Firefighters Assistance Charitable Society. And I thought about him on Thursday as it poured rain the entire day.
Not just for a little bit.
Just steady all day.
I woke up and I saw it raining. I went to bed. It was still raining. That was the day?
Yeah. I had to get something for my vehicle. I didn't do it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get all wet. I got to go all the way to the driveway to get this out of the truck. I'll just wait till it stops raining. And then it just didn't stop.
When it rains, what I realized is like, if you live in Vancouver, you got all the gear. You got the jacket, you got the umbrella, you got the shoes that are water. Like, we don't have any of that shit in Calgary. It's like, what do I do when it rains? You just wait inside until it's done. That whole day, it just rained. And that day, I think we've got like, those apps that like follow your running and stuff. Mike posted this. It's
Do
called,
I have the app that follows me running?
well, you know them. This was not Thursday. This, I believe, was Friday. But on Thursday, I might have the dates wrong. He labels this morning run. Distance 61.9 kilometers in that rain, Dane.
Goosh.
6 hours and 28 minutes of running. And if you can see on the screen the map of Calgary, he starts way up at the north, gets halfway to Chestermere, essentially kind of loosely follows the Bow River all the way down the south, around the bottom south of the city, and then comes back up towards McLeod Trail. 61.9 kilometers he ran. That was day one.
In under 6.5 hours.
Oh.
So you know how my math is. So
Was
it's
it going 100 kilometers an hour?
6 minutes, 17 seconds per kilometer. I feel like that's a pretty good clip.
That would be a good clip for us to punch out 2 kilometers.
That's a lot.
And then that was Thursday. What about Friday? Well,
Yeah,
Friday took it a little easier, just 54.23 kilometers.
Wow, and look at that pace. Slowing down.
Jeez.
Slowing down there.
So those were days 1 and 2. Today is day 3. And tomorrow will be day 4 for Mike. Make sure you head over to nationgear.ca and you can click on the Flames Nation fundraiser or auction, I believe is the tab.
Right.
When you're there, you'll see a Michael Backlund signed jersey. That's up to $375. Travis Konechny stick. That's up to $125. Adam Klapka game-worn Wranglers jersey, $150 there. Lowry, a lousy player, best Twitter handle in the league, $125. I mean, now Kevin Shattenkirk's done.
I was going to say, I thought it was Shattenkirk.
Shat Deuces.
Is he done? I thought he was playing.
I might get a PTO in Edmonton. It's a rumor. We'll ask Big Bad Bob Stauffer when we see him today. Game used hockey stick signed by Brett Sutter, the former Wranglers captain and current assistant coach. He's here. And 4 tickets to a Wranglers home game. That's a great item. Pick your game. You just got to give them a couple weeks notice. Let's get those bids up. It's all going to FACS, the Firefighters Assistance Charitable Society, and a huge tip of the cap to Mike, who is a certified insane human.
So help him out.
Help the firefighters.
Help him
out.
help the Firefighters Assistance Charitable Society. So what time is it here? Just so
it's
I'm
12:15 our time, 1:15 Calgary
20. What is up for your day?
The V's play at 3. I want to go see the old junior squad for a bit.
Are they playing Hokatokes?
No, it's a preseason game, and I think they got a Salmon Arm?
Is it Salmon Arm?
Silverbacks?
Salmon Arm. That sounds right. Because I know they were talking.
I think I saw the Silverbacks logo on the Jumbotron.
Hoop-de-doo there.
Ladies and gentlemen, your home team, the Penticton V's.
Yeah.
Hunter Brewster was.
So you're gonna go watch some afternoon hockey?
Probably. I want to get to Il Vecchio's for that sandwich I promised you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how hungry are you?
Well, I see it in the
chat.
Gotta get the Vecchios.
Il Vex is nuts good. Oh, bun is perfect.
And then he was saying there was La Cucina was the other one.
We got some.
I'd hate to have to do both.
We still got 3 days left here.
There's Jay Money on the chat. I've puked right there before, right where your feet are. Attaboy, Jay. Attaboy, Jay. I can understand how that would happen. You know, you're just
very calm and quiet right now. This was a very different vibe last night at midnight here, I can assure you.
Yeah. Where are you boys at? I'm in town to see the tournament. Wouldn't mind stopping by to say hello. Sorry, Rodney, can't tell you. Don't need you coming by here.
Rodney, the staff at the Barking Parrot patio don't need
do it.
hangers-on and ruffians floating around the broadcast.
Rodney, stay wherever the hell you're at. Appreciate you watching and listening.
Stay away from the Lakeside Resort Casino.
Don't come any closer. Look at the hat. Look at the hat behind us.
Yeah, I know. A lot of hats. They've got a convention here.
There's a big
it's a Hindu
blue hair convention going on here. They all wear their red hats and
white stuff.
Yeah.
Fascinators? Is that what they call those?
I don't know what that is. It's a lot of compression socks.
Polka dots and stripes.
Liver spots going on out here.
Octogenarians. I remember when Diefenbaker. Okay, all right.
Old birds smell weird.
Mothballs?
Hey? They just smell weird. I said yesterday.
Smell like the 40s. Is that what the 40s smell like?
Smells like old encyclopedias and feet.
With just a hint of Werther's candy.
Yeah. And some pit. You couldn't quite get all of the armpit covered, because your joints, I'm sure, kind of lock up. So you only get to maybe about here, but then all this under here is kind of neglected with the pit stick.
I'm just glad we're aging so gracefully, the two of us.
So good. I smelled terrific.
I feel awesome.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You look awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
Smell awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to see the V's.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I saw my buddy Murray Maxwell, who I was jacked about. He's like the biggest celebrity in town. Big Murr.
Was that I took the photo with it?
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Murray is the man, the legend, the icon here in town. Been working and helping out the V's for like 30, 40 years. Back when it was the Knights and the Panthers. He's seen it all. So I'd say it's been great to get back here and see him. Now I get to see the team play preseason.
It's interesting as I'm here with him and meeting these people that run with him back in the day. The stories are the exact same.
I think they're a little different, just water and boats rather than like
it's
ship.
Just it's stupid, drunken, booze-fueled stupidity. Just in different forms, high kicking and all the dumb stuff that you do. Yeah. It's been with you for years. So I'm glad to know that it's not just the Calgary thing, that it's really who you are.
I was explaining to you last night that I'm still me even when I leave Calgary. I don't become a different me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's clear.
That's kind of how that worked.
I
was also my 20s.
Remember the time we took the boat and then we blew the oh boy. All right. But I mean, hey, good stuff. Good job.
Thanks, man.
Good for you. Presenting sponsors of our broadcast here.
Young Stars coverage.
That's right. Is Professional Skate Service. It's gear, but also they're getting more into the merchandise. They got sporting wear, hats, shirts, hoodies.
It's all the hydrating stuff now too. It's the water bottles, the coolers.
Yeah, you got to hydrate.
Different beverages. You got to get those. What do they call electrolytes?
Amino acids.
Mean no harm.
You're the battery acids.
Yeah.
In your system for sure. But they and if you were at the old Pro Skate, you deserve to go and see the new one because they've grown. They are bigger and better than ever, and that's cliche, but it's true. And it's all the best names. If you're a goalie, if you're a skater of any kind, an athlete of any kind, everything you need is there. And our buddies from Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating. Crystal Waters is your crystal clear choice for home comfort. Get that number. Just do it right now. Put it right into your phone. Grab a pen. Although I guess because if you're watching on the YouTube, or even you could press pause and just back it up 10 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't really need to wait for you to get a pen. 403-219-4100. That number once again, 403-219-4100. Let Crystal Waters check your furnace to make sure it's ready for the upcoming winter, which I think is coming. Does it even come here? Do they get winter here?
It's a different kind of winter. We were hearing the horror stories. Apparently all the, what do they call it? The
grapes.
The grapes. There's almost no grapes from the Okanagan. There's not going to be a 2024 vintage because of how cold it got last winter. And what was it called? The tree fruits? All the tree fruits had really rough harvests as well.
The pit fruit.
Pit fruit, yeah. My buddy was all done.
So peaches and
plums.
Plums.
I had a plum tree in my backyard here.
It's
the best. You walk out to work, grab a plum right away.
Feel it right down to my plums.
Plums. You can see though, like people love it here, eh?
Sure they do.
It's a little sleepier, but everyone's walking their dog. Everyone's smiling. People are floating in the lake.
Sure. Smelling weird.
That's the old.
Crystal Waters, your crystal clear choice for all residential plumbing, heating, and cooling services. And if you're a barn burner listener / fan, it's in your best interest to give them one of these. Hey, I'm a barn burner listener. Great promotional offers from discounts.
Sure.
Furnaces, ACs, hot water tanks, emergency water shutoff systems. Your crystal clear choice for home comfort is Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating. So that's going to do it. We'll be, I think we're going to go to the game today.
Yeah, why not? Doubleheader for me.
Watch the Flames take on the Oilers. And then tomorrow we will do it again from roughly this area, depending weather permitting.
And we will, it'll be the Sam Honzik revenge game as he's watching the show live, just absolutely boiling and turning into
something like that. Yeah.
Anger.
Yeah. Hey,
hat trick tonight.
We're hoping it does
be great, buddy.
It's only good things if he can get a little bit more into the fabric of the game, get himself right into it, kind of like you, right into everything here, right into everything.
Oh, I should tell you, there's some celebrity sightings. So the Bark and Parrot at night, it's like lovely
celebrity
patio,
sightings.
Blue Hair's out here today enjoying breakfast, but as it gets later and as the sun goes down, as the tunes crank up and the DJs start rotating sets,
Yeah.
the old dance floor got unbelievable. You can
Right here?
ask, yeah, right here. You can, and people will verify this. Aaron Vickers from FC Hockey,
Vix.
Steinberg from 960, and Francis from Sportsnet all can verify. We saw Lane Bennis on the dance floor last night, which was
Lane,
exceptional. And George Kittle was out there ripping it up, which is crazy because he's going to be playing Minnesota tomorrow.
Doesn't he have a game?
You're supposed to be in Minneapolis.
So
George
Kittle
what are you
and
doing?
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Elaine Bennis was there.
I
don't know how Julia dances,
Right.
but you never know who you're going to see at the Barking Parrot.
At the Barking Parrot. That'll do it. See you, buddies.
That'll do.